Hey guys, in this video I will be talking about Tyrant setups, both single target and multi-target, raid and mythic plus. It's going to be assuming that you use at least one baleful invocation and explosive potential. If you're not using explosive potential, then just feel free to ignore everything I say about pressing implosion to refresh your explosive potential buff. It doesn't apply. And other than that, let's just get into it. The first thing I want to show is the normal single target raid opener, or like what you would do if you go into a fight with no resources. That is precast the Demon Bolt into Hand of Gul'dan, Shadow Bolt, cast Red Stalkers, press Implosion, build the 5 shards, then you press worldvein, hand, soul strike, hand, potential for a third hand, and then Tyrant. This can net you anywhere from like 280% to 400% Tyrant. What you want to do after you cast your Tyrant is that you cast your Hand of Gul'dan again right afterwards, cast around 2 spells, and then cast Implosion again to make sure that you refresh your Implosion explosive potential buff so that it doesn't drop during Tyrants. That's something that you really want to focus on. Right after you cast your Tyrant, in almost any scenario, the next spell you cast is going to be a Hand of Gul'dan so that you can refresh your Implosion explosive potential buff in the Tyrant window. Again, like, it's kind of all about reacting to different RNG, like shard refunds and so on. With this setup, like, you can sometimes you press the exact same spells, but you have a bad setup, or you can get a really good setup if you get good shard RNG. You just keep casting Hand of Gul'dans. So it's not something you should get discouraged by if one of the Tyrants is really small or something. You just kind of keep doing what you're doing cleanly and like tight. Keep the setups really tight. You want to reduce the amount of time spent from you start your setup until you finish your setup. That's how you really maximize the damage of it. Going into mid-fight single target setup, this is like mid-fight boss scenario or mid-fight mythic plus. It doesn't really matter. Anytime you're like just getting a Tyrant back up and you want to use it on single target, this is roughly how it's gonna look. You're about to get your Tyrant back up, you get to 5 shards, you force refresh your Implosion buff, you press worldvein, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, hand, Tyrant. So you see right there, that's a 450% Tyrant without much effort. Again, Hand of Gul'dan right afterwards into 2 spells, and then press Implosion to refresh your EP buff. On this setup, I got really good RNG, so it is very much just a roll of the dice if you get like a 280% or a 450% Tyrant. It can be anywhere in between there. So you just try to make the most out of the good RNG that you get, and kind of just deal with the bad RNG. Going into the next setup that I want to show you is basically what I like to call Outfight Cheese. It's not the same as line of sight cheese, where you force your imps to not have line of sight to your target, so they run all the way to your target. I have videos explaining this, which you can check out in the previous videos of this video series. But basically, what it revolves around Outfight Cheese is you manipulate it so that you cast Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt on trash mobs that are about to die before you want to cast your Tyrant, either on a big trash mob or on a boss. So it looks something like this. You kind of ignore explosive potential for now, and you just kind of go around and hit. I'm gonna pretend that these critters around here are trash mobs that I can kill. So Hand Demon Bolt, and then I get another Hand Demon Bolt over here. And right now, I have 300% Tyrant ready to go. I don't know. Oh, they started hitting my thing from beyond. But the point is that you can cast worldvein here and just cast Hand Tyrant, or just Hand Tyrant, and you're going to be able to get really big Tyrants this way. This one wasn't that big because my imp started hitting my thing from beyond, but in general, this is going to net you really big openers, and you get to cast your cooldowns instantly on bosses. This is how you see me sometimes do like 250k, 300k, 400k single target openers, is by using this. Usually in combination with line of sighting. So you will line of sight cheese towards the end of a trash pack, and then maybe have a critter in between as well. to get an extra hand demon bolt in before you go into the boss. So that's like the big, that's where the big tyrants come from. This is not really something you can do in the raid, it's very much Mythic Plus only. The next thing I want to show you is basically an AoE setup from no resources. This is what I would like to label as a rushed Tyrant. It basically revolves around you wanting to do damage as fast as possible, which especially in the key range of like 10 to 15, 16, you need to be able to do damage fast, or the Demon Hunter's just gonna fell brush everything and then you look like you're doing bad and you feel bad inside, right? We don't want that. So what I mean is that going into a trash pack, you can press Shadow Bolt Soul Strike to get to 5 shards. You press hand, Soul Strike, no, worldvein Tyrant, and then you get your hand and get your implosion buff. So you get your implosion buff kind of late, but it's basically just a rushed setup so that you can actually do damage to the pack because it would be dead otherwise. And you do a lot of damage this way. It's just not like the most efficient use of your cooldowns because you're not getting your EP buff early. You don't have the haste for the Tyrant setup, etc, etc. But it's not really that big of a deal because you can you basically get to do damage early, and in a lot of scenarios getting your cooldowns on cooldown is more important than getting maximum damage of every cooldown. So more cooldown usages means more damage than less cooldown usages is basically what I'm saying. What I actually like more than this though, because ideally you don't want to go into a pack without any resources, is that you have saved up some imps from the previous pack, because you want to treat the dungeon as an entire encounter and not just a pack by pack to boss to pack scenario. So you ideally have some imps on the ground going from the previous trash pack into the next trash pack, which means that, let's say I'm fighting this mob over here, right? And then it dies, and we just walk over here. I get to refresh my EP buff, and then I can do a rush Tyrant setup with like hand, worldvein, and then Tyrant. And like this, you're going to be able to do almost optimal damage per cooldown usage while still being able to do damage really fast. Basically, go watch my resource management video if you haven't already, where I talk a lot about saving resources from pack to pack. But basically what it means is you just keep rolling the resources you have from the previous trash pack to be able to get a fast setup on the next trash pack, especially in terms of Tyrant setup. Because Tyrant on AoE is not really about the Tyrant itself, it's more about the 50% buff it gives you your Fel Guard and your Fel Storm if you're using it, and the ability to just keep chain casting imps for 15 seconds and then get a big implosion at the end with your worldvein if you're using it. So that has been basically the most common setups that I use in raids and Mythic Plus. If you found this video useful, leave a like, leave a comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.